so let's start. And it's good to have you here. Well, welcome from my side. My name is Mirja Eckert. I am a market... Oh, thank you. I'm a market trend and future researcher in the interface of consumer behavior, society, brand, and retail. And I have my own company, which is called The New and located in Stuttgart. And I'm also a lecturer for the Institute of Trend and Future Research in Heidelberg. And this is where I got my latest knowledge and my expert knowledge from. What I want to say is that what has especially fascinated me since many years in the organic sector is that organic has never stood still, has never been just a label, and it's also an expression of social attitude. And this is exactly why the organic food sector is, from my point of view, a really good indicator for major changes like in areas of health, sustainability, technology, but also lifestyle and consumer needs. When we talk about trends today, there is something I would like to let you know, also coming up from the jury group. We do not mean the short-term hypes. We all know them, the chocolate pizza and so on. We want to give you some more insights today about patterns and shifts and responses to new needs. And that's something you can really expect from us. It's not just explaining for the next, let's say, 40, 45 minutes and then a Q&A after that. It's something we want to not explain every trend into detail. We would like to give you some information about why are they so relevant? Why do we believe that they have a huge impact for the future of the organic food sector? That are things we really want to talk about and give you some background information and hopefully also impulses to you guys. And for that, of course, I'm not alone today. I have some support with me from the trend jury. Let's have a look at those good-looking, nice faces. They are not all here today, but as you can see, there are 4 more chairs. And I would like to complete the ladies' part today. And please, a warm welcome to Anne Baumann. Sit wherever you want to sit. Anne, what do I know about Anne? Anne is a trained film and online editor. After many years at Hessischer Rundfunk, among others, she started 10 years ago as a consultant for specialist public relations at AOL. From there, she progressed from team manager to managing director. You really seem to do a really good job there. And I also have some private insights about her private life. She comes from a farm in Thüringen, lives with her family in the Rhön. How many children do you have? 1? Okay. And she loves theater and, it might be not surprising, delicious food. I said the AOL. Could you give us some background information about the association?
Yes, we are the Association of Organic Food Processors, and what the name says, there are like 130 organic food processors company from all over Europe, and and we do politics for them, and we organize that they communicate with each other, and for example, about innovations, about trends. So yeah, that's why I'm here today. Thank you.
Good, thank you. The next one is a guy who says, business as usual. No, business as a revolution. Please come up. Julian Stock, you can see him on the right here. Julian is a district manager at Organic Pioneer BioKaiser since last year, as far as I know. Consultant and much more. He is speaker, co-chair of the Good Food Collective network. He has been a part of the industry since 13 years now, and including over 7 years at Alnatura. And your heart beats also for my areas in the food system. The favorites are collabs, innovation, transformation, and so on. And with those areas, I can imagine that it's going to be quite busy for you during the next few days, not just for your main job at BioKaiser, right?
That's true, yes.
Have you already been on stage today?
No, just in front of a camera. This morning.
Okay. There are 2 chairs left. And I'm really proud to introduce 2 new faces and also members of the trend jury. They are called Stefan and Matt. Please come up. Thank you, that's my chair, sorry. Yeah, people might be curious about you. We are new in our trend jury. I can imagine some of you know you already, but take the chance and introduce yourself briefly.
Yeah, hi, I'm Stefan. I'm over 20 years in food business now. I started a young company 20 years ago. Focus, of course, organic. And I have now a new challenge. I took over that the company was taking over from other partners. So I'm just restarting at the moment with Creovias, focusing on strategic new products, especially in the field of raw materials for the future. And I'm still doing my podcast. I'm a podcast host for Food Fact, and on BIOFACH on Friday, I'm going to do a live podcast here. So I'd be very happy if you come over and listen. We will talk again about innovations and also about new trends, and especially what does the BIOFACH marketing say about the exhibition and how it will be in future.
I heard your podcast on the way here to BIOFACH this morning on Nürnberg, and it's really a recommendation because, of course, it's also linked to our jury panel, and just watch it. It's called Food Fact.
Hi, I'm Matt Landy. I'm the Vice President of Industry Relations with the Organic Trade Association in the United States. We have a booth actually right over in Hall 4. I've actually only been with the OTA for about a year. Before that, I spent my career over 20 years in the private sector, in organic retail, distribution, working with brands, and also in fresh produce, globally and also within the United States. So I've worked with growers all over the world. I've worked a little bit in the regulatory space as on the board of the Organic Materials Review Institute. And I also had a food and agriculture column in California, probably about 15 years ago now. But so I've done some writing, worked in the private sector, and now I work for the Organic Trade Association. And if you don't know the OTA, definitely come by and say hi. We do actually, our work's very similar to yours, Anne, where we work in the space of advocacy and education and supporting other brands. All of our almost 600 member companies.
600?
Almost 600, yes.
Wow, that's a lot. Amazing.
Really grateful to be here.
Now we are completed here for today. Let's talk about our work, our trend jury's work as an introduction. You might be interested what's going on in our group and how is the process behind this trend definitions. First of all, I would like to see that the mix we have in terms of expert knowledge is along the whole value chain. it's from ingredients, from product development to communication, also sustainability expertise and market research. And that's really a very, very good advantage for us. And this gives us so many different perspectives also. During the definition, we discussed, we observed, we summarized so many different directions and insights, and that took a long time. We met for several times. We started in November with the process. Was it November, right? Or yeah, and always two questions have been in the center of our work, especially for priority setting. Which ones are the most relevant now? And which one will have the greatest impact for the future? This was one of our main characteristics and the final decision making. How did you like working in the trend jury? How was it? What was impressive for you or also concerning?
Hello, hello. Thank you. Well, for me, it was really, really great work because it's really a privilege to talk with such experts about what is happening in society, what are the discussions that people are interested in related to food, and then on the other hand, have a look on what's there on the market on new products, and is there a trend we can see, or are there some product trends, for example. And so for me it was a really, really fruitful discussion always, and yeah, I really, really liked it.
It was horrible. No, it wasn't. It was great. I think that especially as Matt was new to the jury, we got an international perspective that added to what we've been seeing over the last years, and I think that broadened our horizon vastly, which was necessary because it's obviously an international trade fair, and we need that international perspective. So. I thought it was a little bit more harmony this year than over the last years. We've been discussing like quite heavily about topics over the last years because obviously we do come from different angles of the industry and we bring in different perspectives. But I found this year was kind of easy to identify the trends that we actually eventually agreed on. Yeah.
What I have in my mind, it took a bit longer time to put them together because there are so many trends, also in the product trend segment, for example, but especially at the sector trends part, which can be seen like a bundle. It's not just like, oh, they did a lazy job and they have just two sector trends. It's much more behind them, and so many trends are linked to each other. Would you agree on that?
Yeah, but for me the surprising part was that there are some trends you can even feel in the air. For example, one of the first trends, reframing organic, you could feel that there was some common sense in the jury where you felt, okay, we have to do something about the self-picture of the consciousness of organic. And for me, it was also interesting to see that this process happened, and parallel, the fair itself worked on a communication strategy and put the communication in a new direction. So you see some of these trends are not visible, but you can feel it emotionally. And you see then on the other level, the product, and it fits in like a puzzle.
We are all smiling. You are still full of energy in terms of the trends, and yeah, it's a good sign.
You definitely made me smile on those 10 hours of Zoom calls with that energy, so I appreciated that quite a lot. I found that, when you think about reframing organic, to me, at its core, organic is a system of agriculture, right? When we set out to create organic as an option, it's 100% built on trust. And the regulatory structure that backs it up is so necessary that we're constantly safeguarding. But within that, now that we've started to mature as an industry, it's amazing just to come to this show floor and see the innovation that can come out of that as we come together and as this industry matures. And, we're not afraid to try new things. Like, I know we started talking about precision fermentation. That was like a big discussion in the US a couple of years ago because, people are afraid of labs, right? They don't want to go that far. But fermentation it's an ancient process. So when you can bring organic principles into some kind of innovation like that, I found that part of the discussion to be really even eye-opening for me as a, somebody who's been doing this for a few decades, 2 decades now. Really appreciated that.
Thank you. You are really talking already a lot about fundamental changes, and at the end of the day, you can find our summary in the sector trends. Let's have a look at them. One is called Reframing Organic. It addresses one question: how can organic remain true while continuing to evolve? And Stefan, it was you summarized that quite well from my point of view. You said, especially in times of change, it is values that unite the organic industry, remaining true to its principles while embracing new solutions makes organic trustworthy, resilient, and sustainable. And that's really the message which is behind also the reframing organic sector trend. And with this in mind, my question to you is, what does this trend mean? What does this trend mean for the organic industry self-image?
If I look in your faces, I really see that what really unites us are our values. And I think we should think what are our values and how should we develop them. And there are huge challenges, technology challenges. That's not only about innovation. There is AI coming. There is, of course, a lot when it comes to new product technologies, to new manufacturing technologies. And the question is, what does unite us and how can we go on, how can we develop this and still be trustful to our own values? And this is the main challenge. And I think a trend is always just an impulse. It's just a picture we can give you, but you are the one who have to work with it. And you have to create it, actually.
I have a look at Julian. He's already waiting.
I just wanted to add that organic has its heritage in a socio-ecological movement being like, a counter-initiative towards industrial farming that came up decades ago. But within the last 15 years, especially, I think we've been seeing a huge transformation going on as organic hit the mainstream. And I think there are many players now on the market that have a much more pragmatic approach towards what organic means for them. And what unites us might be the values, but I think it might even not be only the values, because there are some players on the market, they just see a huge market potential and growth potential and economic potential, which is fair enough. So we need these players as well to scale up organic towards 30% or whatever percent we want, because we're so far away from that number by now. So I think what we are facing now is organic being placed everywhere in conventional markets as well, and being present in the mainstream food system. And a question would be like, how do we need to reframe organic out there to keep the values and to spread the values still within to society, you know?
And with that stronger responsibility at the same time, because we have more influence on mainstream also.
Yes, it's
Anne.
true. And you ask for the signal that this trend has on society. And I think I said it already on the podcast, that some years ago when you ask somebody what they think about organic, then they were like, oh, that's what my grandmother is buying, you know? And I think that when people know that the sector is reframing organic, then they know that we are on a great way to modern organic, modernizing. And that's a very important signal, I think.
Yeah, all I'll add is I think the balance of the safeguarding of organic standards and trust is so essential in any reframing or any evolutionary process. And, hearing you all say that, it's, when we look at trends, it's with the sea of labels that are out there now, to me, it's guarding against greenwashing and other things that don't have the same regulatory structure that organic has, I think is really a core element to us moving forward and being able to continue to innovate and grow, and also have these other players and this scale that we're seeing, but also to be the guardians of kind of why we're here in the first place.
Matt, that's a good point. Where do you see the biggest areas of tension?
Yeah,
Is it the greenwashing thing, or?
For me, that is the biggest area of tension, yes, is that when you have the ability to catch a consumer's eye with some of the words and principles that organic has used for so long without the rigor and the regulatory structure and the public-private partnerships that are in place, I think that's a huge risk. And for us, when we look at, that as a trend, other labels that come into the marketplace that don't have that rigor do risk greenwashing, and I think that's something we're always guarding against.
Where do you see the biggest tension between origin and further development? It can't be only, but this is a massive thing already. What do you have in your mind?
Well, when I look at startups that have been coming up on the market within the last 10 years, I think they have a much more pragmatic approach towards organic being a part of their product philosophy. So it's much more an added value for them because they focus on maybe social change, fair trade, or whatsoever. But nowadays, organic is not the only target to change the way we're doing agriculture, but it's just if you're an impact startup, it's just the first thing you would go for, and then add other values to it and do other stuff to differentiate on the market as a brand. And I think that's a different perspective. The pioneers they have been doing organic in order to have more organic agriculture in the first place. And startups, they are focusing on other stuff like innovations and maybe other values, as I said before.
I think that like Julian said before, organic came from the idea of having a alternative farming system, but also an alternative economy system. The whole system, from farming to processors and so on. That was the idea, and of course, when organic becomes more and more mainstream, then the pressure on that system, on that alternative system that was there all the years, is much bigger. And of course, it is a challenge to hold on the values in a new system, or in a growing system. And that's what I think where the pressure comes from. But I'm very positive that companies and people are innovative and they have ideas on how you can hold on that values in a different market development.
Thank you.
And the products and the trends, they show it. They show exactly that. People are really innovative and they have good ideas. And, we have a lot of crises. For example, some of my companies which are on cacao, chocolate or coffee, they say, we don't know where we can source in 10 years because of climate change and everything, And then people come up with ideas on alternative chocolate, for example. So that shows that we people, we are really, we are innovative. And
So as you can see, there's so many aspects behind reframing organic that's really unbelievable. And we also have a second trend, which is a sector trend for major and reflects major developments. And this is called, do you know it? Perfectly Simple. Perfectly Simple focuses more on consumer realities. It's my favorite trend because it's linked to consumption and all the aspects behind. But I want to know from you guys what changes in consumer behavior are reflected in this trend. It's a lot, I know. I have many things in my mind, but please start.
I think if you have a superficial look on it, it's about having a simple solution for your product, just to warm it up, to have an easy experience when you cook it, to have clean labels like only a few ingredients, which is actually, on the other hand, one of the most difficult things to develop if you get just only a limited number of products you can use, for example. But there is also another level of this trend I see, and this is our desire to have simple solutions, to have simplicity in these quite difficult times. They're challenging. We always see problems. We always see risks. So we want something simple that tells us, well, just take it and have fun with it or enjoy it. And there is nothing else you have to do with.
Okay. For me, simplicity is not banality. That's something I have in my mind with your remark. Many consumers want less complexity, but they do not have fewer demands. And that's really the critical thing also for the industry and the retail guys. But please go on.
Yeah, I'd like to add that nowadays we live in a social media era, which means we don't have much time to talk about what we're actually doing and to explain on like 4 pages what our values are and how we do product or how we change the world or whatever. So people demand simple answers to complex questions in a very short period of time. And organic has always been like talking about how like the organic movement was always explaining and doing like, okay, look at what we're doing. We're doing like so many things and it's like so much stuff that we care about and we do this and that and that. And organic agriculture means this and this is the way we produce and all that. But nowadays we need to press that into a 2-second span of people noticing or not noticing. So I think that's quite an effort to do that and a challenge. However, organic has always been trying to make products that are clean and clear label and have short ingredients lists and everything. So there's a competence within the organic sector answering that demand of keeping it simple, because we've always kept it simple.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's a good bridge to my second question. In terms of product range, communication, and so on. What does it mean for those areas? Also for product design, for example.
I'll actually just go back to a point that Julian made earlier. When we talk about the organic seal as the baseline, right, for the yes and, we have a campaign, if you wander over to the OTA booth that we did this year called the Seal Makes It Simple. And kind of the context behind that is that, organic encompasses so many of the things that we talk about in our marketing campaigns as a baseline that in a way we have kind of made it simple. And I think to your point about how we've been focusing on the simplicity since the inception of the organic movement, so to me, perfectly simple, if you roll that up into a product concept, it's like, that's your baseline. All the other stuff we're doing is also important, because I also agree with your point about how it's all encompassing, how we want to be doing the right things across the board, like whether that's labor practices and fair trade, or even just how we treat our vendors in our warehouse, or how we treat our retail employees. Like, I think we think about all these things holistically as an industry, but the seal is a baseline starting point for us. So I think from a product standpoint, obviously here we're preaching to the proverbial choir a little bit because everybody's certified. But I think as a trend, it's important for us to continue to stand on that.
I want to add at first what Matt says. Sorry, it's an insider. For processing, for example, simplicity means also gentle processing. Also in gently processing, there lies a simplicity, not that it's not complex, but you work with, you do not have so many ingredients, and there are different things how to handle a product, and that's also what simplicity means for us.
Very important aspect. That's something we discussed also during our sessions, and of course it's good that you placed this comment. When we look at both sector trends, there's a clear picture from my point of view. It's moving in two directions at once. It's sharpening its core and opening it up to new target groups. That's a nice combination, and at the end it's not a conflict from my point of view. It's a further development. And let's stop now with the sector trends and let's go on to the product trends. There is the key question, how can these major developments we were talking about be translated into concrete products now? Products is a keyword. Hey, we had so many information about individual products, and I fully agree. At the end of the day, we had very briefly, it didn't took much time to place a common sense and to agree on some trends. You can see them here. Colorful by nature, precision meets tradition, well-being in a bottle, and, oh my God, the last two, they are linked to health. And the other ones, we should make a deep dive here. We don't want to explain it into detail, but what observations about the trends, colorful by nature, what do we mean? Just give us, or our audience, some details and place a few statements.
Well, once again, I think we could look back at the heritage of organic coming from that whole grain, earthy, brown, green colored, boring appearance. Sorry to say that. But over the last years, we've been seeing development also like in products as well as in branding. So impact brands have stepped up a fair bit towards a modern mainstream branding that you, like 10 years ago, only found in conventional markets. And this keeps continuing and evolving, and so we do see products that are actually colorful, and that gets reflected in the branding of the startups and the scale-ups and the pioneers even as well. So we thought that might be a trend that we've already seen in the conventional market, but having like blue pancakes or green matcha bowls, we found these products to highlight the what is actually possible even within organic product management and development.
It's not only having a right product, it's having a more attractive one. I remember us just smiling, oh, colors, we really have to find something in that direction, and it catched us. And is there something coming up from you or any?
Well, when it comes to colors, I think it's also linked to perfectly simple, because I said we want it simple, but we also want to have fun. And I think these products are worth mentioning because it's quite courageous to bring out a blue nut cream. Because, I mean, the flop risk is quite high, I guess, because who knows, food blue colored. So it's not a color we are used to eat normally. So even for having that courage, it's worth mentioning it in the trenchery. And who knows, maybe someone wants to have a Smurf cream in the morning, and yeah, it becomes a great success. We don't know.
Yeah. Okay. I can imagine that you know what we mean with the colorful by nature topic, but I'm pretty sure that precision meets tradition is not self-explaining, or is it? I'm not sure, but that was one field which the most emotional discussions, as far as I remember, because there were so many things going on along the whole value chain, and also in terms of argumentation. And you are smiling also, Matt. I remember we were sitting in front of our monitors, and then everybody wanted to say something, and now it's time. You are allowed to reflect for one more time, and also to give us some more aspects and about the argumentation for this trend.
Well, I think what you're referring to is kind of this. We had this moment where I think you might have brought up, Stefan, precision fermentation, and in our market, that kind of meant something a little different, because there was a trend that it really just was like a very short trend for this lab-grown meat. And there was this idea that was a form of precision fermentation in our market. And we just kind of said, and I think for the products we were looking at, it meant something very different, because that had GMOs and it wasn't organic, and it was just a whole different kind of trend. So we had a pretty lively discussion around that, and I think, but what we're really talking about here is fermentation is it also relates to the oh my gut, I would say, if you think about fermentation overall. Fermentation is an ancient tradition, right? And we're taking something and we're just evolving it within our sector, and also opening up this world of creativity that we otherwise wouldn't have seen. And I think this is one of the really exciting trends, actually, once we kind of got over that hump and really started looking at products and talking about the different processes. Very exciting.
Yeah, as we've seen in reflecting on the sector trend, reframing organic. So we have technology coming up, and we talked about like what was not available in the organic market like 20 years ago that is now available, and that still goes along with the values of the organic movement, which is like basically texturized proteins and stuff like that, like soy flakes and all that. That wasn't ever possible for a long time, but is now possible and is still according to organic standards. And we've seen like we haven't seen that many products that actually reflect that trend, but for us it's also about seeing what's on the horizon and that what might be coming up in the near future, like that trend has just begun and just started. So we've seen a couple of products that are actually doing fermentation in a very innovative way and a very unique way, and they have like, you know, they're the pioneering that whole food fermentation kind of trend in a different way that has already been here on the market. So we wanted to reflect that in the product trends as well. Although we know that there are not that many products reflecting this by now.
And it's also, it's not just fermentation. It's, for example, also if we talk about convenience food, you know, and there's always a trend about, like, from years ago, about convenience food and having good organic convenience food. For me as a mother, I'm really happy that there's good food on the market. And so this is also related to the health idea.
I have to say I love this trend, because with this trend we move from colors into gray zone. We are somewhere between sauerkraut and cocoa-free chocolate. And in that field, in the latter field, like the chocolate, we're almost in the dark area, because we don't know what's really in it. There is some technology we don't understand. Precise fermentation is a big issue in food industry, and I would say the conventional food industry has, in some areas, no answers to that, especially when it comes also to politics. And mostly organic industry, I think they don't even know what it is. So the products we are talking about here, they're somehow not even precise fermentation. They are fermented in a traditional way, but very precise. And even that is different. So to talk about these products is a huge challenge for all of us, but it's also a big chance. The chance to form the resources, the products, and the raw materials of the future.
That not might be, it is a real advantage for the sector, for the organic food sector.
Yeah.
I like it a lot also. And also there are already existing so many nice products, and you can find them here on the novelty stand, for example, and please look for that. It's really the opportunity to get the link about what we say and just walk a few meters, and then you can find so many inspirations there. And in terms of well-being in a bottle, and oh my God, as I've already said, they are linked to health. There's much more behind. Well-being is a keyword here. Also preventive assets. It's important. Those trends, they are integrated in our daily life. And my question to you is, why is this topic currently gaining so much relevance?
Well, for example, we are all here on BIOFACH, and you know, it is famous that after BIOFACH, very many people are sick. But there are some nice shots there on the novelty stand. No, really. I mean, health is one of the biggest value from organic from beginning on. You know, it's in the I-Form principles. It's health for people, for nature, for the planet, and this is now possible to be stocked in a bottle. For example, if you have like ingwer shots or matcha shots or something like that, and that's what we mean with well-being in a bottle.
Yeah, and oh my God was like, we've been seeing gut health on the horizon as well over the last years, but we've also seen this year like so many more products that are reflecting this trend, and having protein as a mega trend in health over the last years. We saw fiber coming up as well. So we have like protein and fiber and fermentation and all that. And we thought, oh my God, would be a perfect title to add that trend onto the list here.
I think when it comes to health, organic has a huge credibility. And we see in the products this year that the manufacturers, the producers, they saw this benefit and they used it. What I think what's special is about is that they market, that they don't fear health claims anymore, and they say that's good for the gut. So that was surprising on the one hand, and on the other hand, it shows that manufacturers, producers became maybe more professional when it comes to research basis, analysis, because they need to prove if they claim it. So there seems to be a development, and I'm very happy about this because that's a big chance for the organic industry, actually.
Thank you. Yeah. When I have a look at the time, there is one more topic I really would like to talk about, the trends, and let's look ahead. Let's say what vision of the future we have for organic food. We say, hey, there's so many things going on, it's so busy, nice developments and so on. But are we really right? What about the path and so on? And I would like to know, how will we know in the next 2 to 3 years that organic is moving in the right direction? It's not an easy question, I know, but when do we say that that's really right? We did a good job.
Maybe if we can together create a healthy market, I mean health for a whole system, you know, and for the planet. If we can handle all together, then we need all actors from the supply chain. If we can create a health market, you know, and products that serve the planet and personal health. I mean, that's still a very big goal, I know, but yeah, I think that's the final goal, you know.
I'd just say that we're still a very small percentage overall of the global food system when it comes to certified organic. In markets like in our market in the U.S., I mean, we're up to probably 75 billion this year, I think, as a sector, which I think that's coming out in a few months. So we're still seeing a lot healthier growth, but we're still so small, really, in comparison. If we really want to change the food system, like, we have to continue to have that drive and that intention behind what we're doing, and also think about accessibility and like the bigger tent piece of it, because I think we also can we can sometimes veer into a place where it's inaccessible, or it's, we're not considering large percentages of the global population when we have these discussions around it. So I think, as a sector, what we're talking about here are agricultural practices, right? And changing how we produce food and how we create access to food. So I think to continue to do that.
And also linked to facts and figures, increasing numbers, positive ones.
Yes.
Okay. I'm curious about you, Stefan.
I think it's successful if we succeed to integrate new technologies. If we find out that the technologies that are given to us can help us to be more transparent about the products we are offering. We don't have to hide anything, so we can use these technologies to show people what's behind our products. We can use these technologies to develop new products, to develop new strategies of transparency, and I think that's a big chance. So don't be full of fear of these technologies, use them. And there is another panel on Thursday, on the narratives of the future, with the futurologist, with Max, and I really invite you to come there, because that's about about this topic.
Yeah. Julian, before you go on, in terms of the market participants, is there something they should not postpone in terms of the future also. You would like to motivate, don't wait anymore. It might be tough, but do not postpone it.
Well, I'd say do not postpone to be open towards anything that's going on in the market, and do not postpone growing, evolving, and developing your own strategies alongside with how society is evolving, how the economic system is evolving, to not, like, in order to just keep up with what's happening on the market. And scaling your communications and your product development and your branding and like policy work wherever you are within the organic system, because there's so many different roles combined contributing to the further development of organic, and we need all these roles. We need discounters in order to grow organic, as well as small startups or big business companies or whatsoever, whoever is contributing to further growing the organic sector is very welcome and much needed. And I'd say whatever you're doing right now, keep it up, keep going, even though like we have a political system that does not actually accelerate that development. But we obviously have to face tougher times probably within the future, and we just need to keep cooperating, working together, looking at what's actually needed and how we individually can contribute to keep it up.
Is there one more comment from your side? If not, we can close. There's 5 minutes rest for any question. Thank you for your authentic insights, and also thank you for listening to you. And let's have a Q&A, if it's okay for you. I'm pretty sure that there might be also a question concerning the future topics. Is there something? No? Then it seems as we had a good job here, or? Yeah? So thank you very much. And
thank you for the wonderful moderation.
Thank you too. It was an easy thing because you had lots of interesting content. And here there's some more insights about innovations, new things. There's a huge offer all over the BIOFACH, and for us, if you want to talk to us, we stay here around the stage and take your chance. Thank you.